Elon Musk walked around Capitol Hill today like a one-man wrecking ball. He had swapped his Occupy Mars t-shirt for a suit and tie, and you can see there his security detail, private security, kept reporters away. Musk doesn't much like hard questions about his new project called DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Creating government efficiency will be slightly harder than occupying Mars. Members of Congress dutifully talked about how much they supported DOGE today. You could also rename DOGE DOA, dead on arrival. Members of Congress, and I know this because I spend a lot of time with them, love nothing more than supporting something that sounds great and means nothing. Take, for example, a $15 million program to study monkey flatulence in Rwanda. That is an easy one for everyone to agree on. Really, it must go. So here's why DOGE means nothing. Entitlement programs, Social Security and Medicare make up about 62% of government spending. Add on 11% for the interest on the national debt. What's left includes defense spending that Trump promises to increase, so that's not going to get touched. So the truth is, even if Musk cuts a quarter of discretionary spending, we're talking about just 25% of less than 11% of the total budget. Those are the things like the monkey flatulence study. Okay, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I made up the monkey flatulence study, but it would not surprise you in the least that the government would have one. Unless we are going to talk about Medicare and Social Security reforms, cutting back on government waste is rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. It just is. And now I'll give you a real example why. Because Republicans love talking about ending funding to PBS. It's one of their big talking points. Bill O'Reilly wrote about it in his column. It would require 60 votes in the Senate, so it won't happen, but DOGE will, of course, recommend it and people will talk about it. Huge win for Musk if it happens. PBS accounts for 0.008% of government spending. So compared to the average household income, that percentage, if you're doing your yearly budget, that would be like an American family cutting out just one of the following things: 2 gallons of gas over a year or a McDonald's Happy Meal. It doesn't change your budget. It is meaningless. DOGE is a joke. And that's just fine with Congress. In fact, they want it to be a joke. And so do all the fine folks in Washington, no matter what they say. And here's why. What I'm about to tell you is the real story, and it's not DOGE. For all the rightful complaints about the government waste, inefficiency, legal graft, all that stuff, the federal government does one thing exceptionally well. It makes Washington and the people living in Washington really rich. So we'll follow the money. According to Axios, Washington, D.C. has the highest threshold for 1%ers in America, 1.22 million. To be in the top 1% in Washington, you have to make $1.22 million. It's not Silicon Valley, it's not Palm Beach, it's not the Upper East Side. Nowhere else in America does it take more to be in the top 1% than it does in Washington, D.C. by a lot. Washington exists to make itself rich. It does that very well. The top 1% in D.C. don't create anything. They don't invent new products or discover new drugs. They don't manufacture anything. They don't take risk as entrepreneurs. They don't build companies which enrich the lives of thousands of employees. No, most of the 1% in D.C. and most of the D.C. elite serve themselves and live in one way or another off the taxpayers. It's in their best interest for the government to forever grow. So it's not just D.C. proper, right? Our producer Andrew Roberts pointed out earlier today, 4 of the 7 wealthiest counties in America surround D.C. Trump's new crew moving to D.C. will be richer than his last. And the last team did pretty well for themselves. The Intelligencer writes, add in Elon Musk and the other members of Trump 2.0 entourage who don't require Senate confirmation, their combined net worth $340 billion. Joe Biden's cabinet, worth less than $120 million. There's nothing billionaires love more than the government spending money. It's one of the many ways they get rich. We wrote about this first in War Notes. That's our daily newsletter. Comes out every day, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up for free at warnotes.com. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.